Hey, welcome to the Jonny Kline Experience podcast, show, stream, broadcast. We're workshopping the name. But here we talk all things movie news and the latest movie news, TV news, box office news. So if you're a movie dweeb, then this is a place for you. If you just kind of casually like movies, you'll still have a good time, I reckon. If you don't like movies, hate to break it to you, you are not in the right place. So go on, get. But we have a really good show today. There's a lot of interesting news topics. So I have sifted through hundreds of articles, and I've picked the 7 that I find are most relevant and interesting. So we got some Doomsday news. We got some Dune news. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson news. Marty Supreme we're going to talk about a little bit. And then a couple other ones as well. So just sit back, relax, grab a drink, maybe a meal if you're a big time eater, and let's just go on and get into it. Okay. First topic, one of the most, what I would consider to be one of the most important movies that will ever be made, Avengers Doomsday. Right? It's coming out next year. And there's a lot of people that are sketched out about whether it's actually going to be good or not. I personally think it's going to be great. I think the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige, I don't think they miss. But a couple of weeks ago, I think it was like about 2 weeks ago, I was just scrolling on the old Twitter, and I came across some leaks. Also, spoiler. So if you don't want any spoiled or anything spoiled or any spoilers from Doomsday, then you want to get out of here. But I was on Twitter and I was scrolling and I came across some pictures and it looked like it was behind the scenes, like makeup continuity style photos. And so I looked into it and I was like, dude, these things look real. And then I started reading the comments and everybody, like a lot of people were saying that it was AI and that they were sure that it was AI. And I was like, there's no way. Like AI, you can kind of tell that there's no AI in these photos. And here are the photos I'm talking about. Let's share this picture here. So here they are. And as you see, there's, you got a few different photos here, and then you got some like concept art. And a lot of people are pointing out this like concept art as like, see, look, it's AI, like, because yeah, that's fake, but that's what concept art is. It's people just drawing and making animations of what the characters will look like. But the most interesting to me was RDJ, and here again, it's kind of pixelated. It's not that high of quality, unfortunately. But as you can see, he has what looks like kind of like blonde or whitish hair. And he has this scar coming through, which I think looks sick because we knew that he obviously was going to have some, as Dr. Doom, he's going to have some issues with his face and not going to, look 100% like RDJ. But I was hoping that they wouldn't go too overboard. And I didn't think that they would, because if they're spending $50 million a movie on, getting RDJ in these movies, they're not going to cover him up. They're probably going to have that mask off 99% of the time, because if you're paying $50 million for a guy, you're going to want to show his face as much as possible. And so anyway, I thought that they were real, and I was very confident that they were real. But no, it seemed like almost no one else thought that they were real. But something interesting just came out, and that is that, let's get it pulled up. That here, RDJ and Tom Holland, they just did like a campaign with their two companies. Tom Holland owns like that artificial beer company called Beero, and then RDJ's owns like a coffee company called Happy Coffee. I think it's coffee. I'm pretty sure. It's in a coffee mug. Makes sense that it'd be coffee. But as you can see, look at his hair, right? So it's like more of a gray, like a lighter hair color. And as you can see, man, it's like the same length, and it's doing the same part, has like the same thickness. And so this just goes to prove my point that I think this crap's real. And I think this is what our Doctor Doom is going to look like. I can't remember this guy's name again, James something, but yeah, Cyclops, I think, same thing. Sir Ian McKellen, I think it's real. And then here's the interesting part. Spoilers again, if you don't want things to be spoiled, is that there's Tobey. So Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was also on this. And again, there's just no way that this is AI. So you take that, again, this obviously fake. This not. So, and then you take that and you couple it with the fact that, like, just a few weeks ago, Tobey Maguire was in London, spotted in London, just a few miles from where they were filming. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure this little campaign here that they did just proved that my intuition was right and that those pictures were actually real. I mean, if you just look at that, I know it's not the highest quality photos, and on the stream it's even less so, but you can find them online. Oh, another point is that a lot of the accounts that had posted these, they've been removed, like, online. And Marvel has a history of doing that, like with the Spider-Man leaks, like whenever those with Toby and Andrew, whenever those were coming out and getting leaked back for No Way Home, those got taken down. These have been getting taken down too. So it's like if they weren't real, then they wouldn't even like Marvel wouldn't bother taking them down. So anyway, I think that they're 100% real, and also, like, Toby coming back, that's not a surprise at all to me, because with Doomsday, they're trying to make this, and they've said it, that it's going to be the biggest movie in the history of cinema, that it's going to be bigger than Endgame, it's going to be bigger than Infinity War. The Russo brothers have said that. As we know, they're bringing back everybody that they can, and their mom, and their freaking dog. And they saw how good the reception was with Toby and Andrew coming back as Spider-Man, and everyone loves them. So it's like, they're going to pay a lot of money to get Toby back. And so it's like that would be dumb for them not to. Now, it's possible that some of these scenes they have filmed for Secret Wars, actually, because that happens sometimes, like whether it's Avatar or even in Infinity War and Endgame. They would film some scenes that they knew were coming later, and they would film them during the filming of, like, the movie that came before. So they filmed some Endgame scenes in Infinity War, and same with, like, the Avatar movies. So it's possible that, like, you know, Toby maybe doesn't show up until Secret Wars or something like that, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be in Doomsday. And who knows? He could bite the dust in Doomsday too. I could see that. So anyway, Channing Tatum also has made a lot of comments recently about, like, how he's on set and there's all these people that he didn't even know were going to be in the movie, and they're in the movie, and it's just making I think he used the phrase making people's brains ooze out of their ears or something weird and descriptive like that. But yeah, I think these are real. So I guess my question to you guys is, do you all think that this is real? And do you think that Toby specifically is coming back? Do you think we're going to get the OG, the best Spider-Man coming back in Doomsday? Let me know your thoughts and what you think about it down in the comments /chat. And yeah, we're going to move on to our next topic here. So a couple months ago, a trailer dropped out of the blue that I didn't even know, they had done a production for. And again, I was on YouTube, and I'm just scrolling and it pops up, and I see that it's Chalamet, good old Timothy Chalamet. And, it's called Marty Supreme. And I was like, oh, what the heck's that? And I was like, also Chalamet looks weird because he had like a mustache. So anyway, I click on it, because there's never going to be a trailer that I don't watch. I love trailers. And the first song that comes up is, what is it? Oh, Forever Young by Alphaville. But I think it was like, if I remember right, it was like a cinematic kind of version. And I was like, all right, this is good. Like, love Timothy Chalamet, love Alphaville. And so I kept watching it, and then it had Gwyneth Paltrow in it, and I think she's like a love interest. And then I kept watching, and then it had Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. He's in it as a business dude, and from the trailer, it looks like he's freaking crushing the role. Like, he looked like he was doing great. So I watched that trailer, and I got done, and that became probably my most anticipated movie of the year, just from that trailer alone. That's the power of a good trailer, is like, it can take you like a movie that I have no idea of what it is to making it like the most anticipated movie. And then I saw that it was from Josh Safdie, which is one of the Safdie brothers, and I love them, like Good Time. They did that one, and then a couple others. And so anyway, I was amped for this. Well, it turns out that, I guess, again, the old intuition was right, because the review, they just screened it at a New York, I guess, film festival is what they're calling it. And the reviews are amazing. Let me pull it up here. Oh, wait. So I'm figuring out the controls here. So yeah, the first reviews, they filmed it at New York Film Festival, and it was a surprise. So no one knew that it was coming, and they just screened it at a small screening, and the reviews are insane. So here is what Variety co-editor-in-chief Ramin Seduda, I'm sure I destroyed that name, shared a glowing review of the film on X, citing many of its perceived inspirations. He wrote, Marty Supreme is Uncut Gems, which was Safdie Brothers, meets Catcher in the Rye, meets Jerry Maguire, carried by Timothée Chalamet's best performance yet. I loved it so much. That description's interesting. I feel like I have a less of an idea of what that movie's going to be like after Catcher in the Rye meets Uncut Gems meets Jerry Maguire. Like, I feel like I kind of had an idea, but now I have no idea. Either way, he said I loved it so much, and he thought that it was Timothée Chalamet's best performance yet. And again, this is Variety co-editor-in-chief. Like, this isn't some, just random guy on the internet. Now, let's go to more reviews. Discussing film, chairman Diego Andaluz. Again, these names are tearing me up, and I'm sure I'm tearing them up. But echoed the praise. He called Marty Supreme Safdie's best film yet, giving particular praise to Chalamet in the starring role. That's great. And then he goes on to say, a kinetic odyssey that plays like a deranged cross between Catch Me If You Can and Uncut Gems. He wrote on X, Timothée Chalamet delivers the performance of a lifetime in this unforgettable, awe-inspiring, cinematic tour de force that fires on all cylinders. Catch Me If You Can, one with Leo, that's a great movie. Uncut Gems. I feel like this description, I have a better idea of what this film is going to be like. But one thing that was interesting about that is that he said Chalamet delivers the performance of a lifetime. And that's kind of saying a lot, because if we go here to his filmography, I mean, Chalamet's been in a ton of movies that he had great performances and was highly praised for them. Like A Complete Unknown, he was up for an Oscar and almost every other award. Call Me By Your Name, Dune 2, he was amazing in Dune 2. Wonka, I never saw Wonka, but heard he was great. Interstellar, he had like 10 seconds of screen time, but gosh, it's a good movie. Little Women, phenomenal. Beautiful Boy, tearjerker, crushed it in that. King, crushed it in that. Lady Bird, great in that. Don't Look Up, wasn't as big of a movie, but crushed it in that. I mean, he's been in some great movies with some really nuanced performances, and they're calling that this is his best performance, and they're saying that this is this Josh Safdie's best movie, but he did Good Time and Uncut Gems, which those are amazing movies. So that's kind of saying a lot. If we go on, senior Hollywood reporter writer David Canfield deemed Chalamet's turn as ping pong legend Marty Mauser, I'm sure you say that, these names are hard today, a career best performance. So, and again, entertainment journalist David Crow. So these are like big names in the industry that are praising this. So Anyway, what's funny too is I heard that in that film festival. So when they just did a surprise screening, I heard that Josh Safdie like was up until 2 a.m. the morning before editing it. So it was done literally right before they filmed it, which is kind of crazy. I think that this will do better than his brother's movie that just came out, because the Smashing Machine, which we'll talk about that later, that didn't do good. I feel that Chalamet's name right now carries a lot of weight, and I feel like it'll perform well at the box office, and with all of these early reviews, really boosting it up. Again, I think it comes out in December, but I think that this will actually turn out to be a success, and yeah, I think I can't wait to see it. Again, I think it comes out in December. But on that news, one other thing, that he did a video promoting this movie a little bit. Maybe it was like a music video or something. He kind of has that alter ego, which is called I can't remember what his alter ego is called, but like Tiny Tim or something like that. But as you can see here, he's got the shaved head, and he looks a lot older with that shaved head. When his head is shaved, I mean, he looks way older. Which they're filming Dune right now, which we'll talk about here in a bit. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting look. So anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think that this is going to be Chalamet's best performance yet? Do you think that it's going to be better than A Complete Unknown? Because again, he was up for an Oscar for that one. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments /chat below, and we'll move on to our next topic here. So one of my favorite movies and most underappreciated movies, in my opinion, for my generation is Heat. If you've never seen Heat, go watch it. Heat was made by Michael Mann. Had Al Pacino, Robert De Niro going head to head in like a crime thriller. And this was actually the first movie. Pacino and De Niro both in The Godfather, but they never shared a scene together. So this was the first movie that they actually shared a scene together in. And again, Michael Mann, just a legendary director. Well, it turns out that they're making a Heat 2 as far as it stands. And Leonardo DiCaprio, Austin Butler, Adam Driver, and Bradley Cooper are all circling it to play it. So this comes from Hollywood Reporter, and it says, Heat 2, the high-profile Michael Mann follow-up to the 1995 crime drama classic, is getting a new home, ensuring that the ambitious and buzzy feature project will be getting made after all. It goes on to say that United Artists, the Amazon MGM Studios division, is in talks to pick up the project from Warner Bros. After the latter let the movie be shopped in August when it was unable to agree with Mann on a budget. So it goes on later to say that the initial budget proposal that Mann wanted was at $230 million, according to a source. But then they eventually talked about it and got it down to $170 million. But then Warner Brothers wanted it even lower at like around $135 million or $140 million. So they didn't end up moving forward with it, but I guess they allowed it to be shopped around because now United Artists has picked it up, which is the Amazon MGM studio. And yeah, the rumors right now, I don't know if it even says it in this article, is that Leo is attached to play an older. So in the first one, there was Val Kilmer's character. He was like De Niro's right-hand man. And so they were like the bad guys. But it was like nuanced bad guy. But Leo is set to play him. That's what the rumors are right now. And then Austin Butler is going to play like a younger him. So basically what they're kind of doing like a prequel and a sequel all in one movie. Again, that's how there's a book, Heat 2. I haven't read it, but that's what they did in the book. So a lot of people think that they're just basically going to adapt the book into a screenplay. And so I guess you have, it shows like the beginning of them doing their crime career. And then it shows Pacino's character, who's the cop, who's kind of doing the cat and mouse game with them throughout the movie. And it's Austin Butler, they think, is going to play the younger Val Kilmer character. And then, you have the original Heat, like where the story's at, but then they're going to do a sequel. And then Leonardo DiCaprio is doing like what came after. And, so Val Kilmer's character would be a little bit older. And then I don't know Bradley Cooper. Nobody, again, this is all just speculation. But the reports are that Bradley Cooper is going to be in it as well. And I'm curious if he doesn't play Pacino's character, like an older version. But then Adam Driver's also attached. And so I'm curious if Adam Driver would play a younger De Niro in it, or if he'd play a younger, what is his name? Hana, I think, was Pacino's character's name. But either way, I'm just absolutely pumped about this because, again, Heat 2 was one of the most impactful, influential movies in this space. It came out in, I think, 95. And, like, for instance, Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan says in interviews that he basically just copied Heat as Dark Knight. That was, like, his main inspiration. And it's just a phenomenal movie. And it's really interesting that, I don't know, that man wanted a $200 million budget because, as we've seen, these movies are struggling to make money. That's just the reality. Movie theaters aren't as popular as they used to be. Streamers have come in and made a big dent. People are just staying home watching movies. Things like TikTok, YouTube, they're indirectly taking people's attention. And so, people want to stay home and doom scroll TikTok instead of, go to the movies. So we'll see if he gets a $200 million budget. I don't know if it'd be smart to give him the $200 million budget. I would see, like, if they could get it down to like the 130, I think that's good. But, they're going to have to do a big payday to Leo. If Bradley Cooper's in it, big payday. Austin Butler, not as big, but still. And then Adam Driver, yeah, big payday. So I don't know. That it's interesting. I just don't think that they would greenlight it at $200 million unless they have good strategies and deals set up on the back end to make money through streaming rights, licensing, all the additional revenue streams that they'll make it back from. So anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think that this movie, would be popular enough and have enough people come out and show up to it at, a $200 million budget? Or do you think that it's not going to be that popular? And I think a part two to that question is, do you think that Leo and Bradley Cooper and, these big time movie stars, do you think that they have the pull to be able to get those type of numbers out to the movie theater? Because a lot of people from my generation don't really know what Heat is. So the idea of doing a $200 million IP, but it's not really IP because a lot of people from my generation don't know about it, that's a risky move. So let me know what you guys think in the comments /chat, and we'll move on to our next topic. As many of my friends, I guess, know, that Dune is, specifically Dune 2, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's probably top 5. Dune 1 was good, but like I always say, Dune 1 walked so that Dune 2 could run. And one of my favorite characters, one of the most important characters in it, and one who I thought gave really top 2 best performances of Dune 2 was Rebecca Ferguson. She played Paul Atreides' mom, Lady Jessica. Well, she has just confirmed that she's coming back for Dune Part 3, which Dune Part 3 is, from what people know, it's basically going to be Dune Messiah, which is, I believe that's the second book, because the first book was Dune, like the movie was Dune 1 and 2. They split it up. But this one, I believe, is Dune Messiah. And in the book, she's not really in it, from as far as I understand. And so everyone thought that she was going to be left out. But then I guess it turns out that Denis Villeneuve, or Villain, I don't know how to say his name. I'm sure I'm butchering it. He said he had found a way to bring her back. And now this. So it comes to us from Collider. Total Film asked, she was in, I think, was it Paris or something, doing a press tour for House of Dynamite. And Total Film asked Ferguson if she could confirm or deny her role in Doom 3. She said, yes, I am in it. She said, continuing, small, dip in and out, because I'm not in the book. So I wasn't reckoning on it. Maybe it's a British thing. Then Denis Villeneuve, I don't know how to say it, called me and I was like, why do I have a feeling you think you're not in it? And I was like, because I'm not in the book. And he was like, no, mate, I have a couple scenes for you. Ferguson also admitted that very rarely do I get more FOMO. I'm often quite relieved to not be involved in things. I'm the one who comes in and leaves fast, but I think Dune is the one. I walked onto set and saw Linus Sandgren, who he does like all of Damien Chazelle's movies. So like La La Land, beautiful cinematography. He does a cinematography for like First Man, all of those movies. And he's done a lot of other movies as well. He's a great cinematographer. But him and Denis and Timothy were there too. And it just rings close. I knew I was going to leave the next day, so there was a sadness to it. But I also know that the film is epic. If Ferguson was indeed only on set for one day, fans can expect her role to be limited to only a scene or two. So that's really quite interesting to me, because I was hoping that she was going to be in this, and I was hoping that she had a major role, because Denis, I know she wasn't really in the books or in that book, but he adapts that book to the screenplay, which you have to. If you did a book exactly like the books were, specifically Dune, then, not only would it be more strange and probably not near as successful, but you just have to like leave a lot of stuff out. And, they're two different storytelling formats, books and movies. So given that Denis, he adapted a lot of things in Dune Part 2 specifically. And so he's not scared to do that. And so I'm glad that he's making this decision to bring her back, because I feel like if he didn't bring her back, then there would be this level of, openness, not closure. Like there wouldn't be like closure for what happened to her. And so I think that this is a great move. I think that, it's possible that he's setting up like the next book, which I think is Children of Dune. Like maybe Warner Brothers wants him to set up, because she is more relevant in those books from what I remember. So it's possible that he's setting that up, and maybe she's, not going to be in this movie. And again, they could be filming this for like a future thing, or maybe she's at the very end, like maybe even a post-credit scene type thing, or maybe she's just in it and it could be like a flashback or, something small. Because if she's only on set for 1 day to 2 days, I mean, that's, and I think it might have just been 1 day. I mean, that's like a one scene type of thing. Like you're not, especially with those big productions where they're moving lights and they're moving cameras, and it's just so much. So, I mean, she didn't probably do more than a scene. So I almost wonder if it could be something very similar to what Paul's sister in Dune 2, where they just shot her on a beach and she said something like, Paul, I love you, and I'm here for you, something like that. And it was kind of like this artsy decision. So I'm wondering if it's like kind of something like that, to where it's just gonna be super quick, and they could even potentially cut it. He's cut, what was that guy's name, the dude from Holes, the funny dude from Holes. He was in Dune Part 2, but he got cut completely. He said it was a minor role, but still he got cut. So, he's not afraid to cut things. So hopefully it makes it into the movie. So anyway, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Are you guys excited about her returning? Are you not? If she didn't return, would there be a level of like, I don't know, not what's the opposite of closure? I guess open it. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I guess what are you guys' thoughts? Just let me know in the comics. So moving on to our next topic. So as I had kind of just mentioned previously, this topic. I mentioned the names, but one of my favorite directors, and just I think one of the best directors working today, is Damien Chazelle. He did La La Land. He did First Man. He did what was the other? Oh, Whiplash. I mean, goodness gracious! I like those three movies, specifically La La Land and First Man, are two of my favorite movies. But Babylon came out, I think in 22 maybe or something like that. And people liked it, but we had post COVID. I think it was right before maybe the writer's strike that it came out. But it was post COVID, and people really weren't going to the movies again. And so Babylon came out, and it just didn't perform well at the box office. I can't remember what it made, but it wasn't great, and I think it actually lost money. So then here we are years later. Damien Chazelle still hasn't had a movie made. So a lot of people assume that he was in director's jail. Well, it turns out that his next movie is going to be a prison set drama, and it's going to star Daniel Craig and Cillian Murphy, which I'm absolutely pumped about. So this comes from World of Real. So it says, the summer after Leonardo DiCaprio dropped out of Evel Knievel goes on tour, Chazelle had to regroup with the project now appearing to be on hold or possibly even scrapped. What would he do next, and when would it shoot? Well, Chazelle is developing another film currently untitled that is set in a prison. Daniel Craig and Cillian Murphy were attached to star in this mysterious project, and now we have a small but promising update. Justin Hurwitz, Chazelle's longtime composer, was in Paris this weekend for La La Land in concert, and he let it slip that not only is the prison movie Chazelle's next film, but he's currently writing the score for it. Additionally, Hurwitz claims it's the best script he's ever read. I'm in. That's so exciting to me because the fact that, number one, you're getting Justin Hurwitz back, who his score for La La Land, I think he won an Oscar for it. His score for First Man, great. Score for Whiplash, great. Babylon score, great. So he's getting him back, but then he's also getting Cillian Murphy and Daniel Craig, who are two of my favorite working actors now. Cillian Murphy, did a generational performance as the one Robert J. Oppenheimer in Oppenheimer. Just absolutely crushed that performance. And everything he does, he's great. Peaky Blinders, great. He's just a phenomenal actor. And then you have Daniel Craig, who also, in his own respect, is a phenomenal actor. The greatest James Bond that we've ever had. I'll die on that hill. I mean, he's just so good. And seeing that, they all are coming together to do a film, and not just a film that Hurwitz claims is the best script he's ever read. I mean, that's huge. Now, I guess my one concern is that it's a prison drama. Not that wouldn't be good, or that, there's not good stories to be told with that, but I just don't really know of a really good prison drama recently that I've seen. I don't know. When I think of prison drama, I just keep having Prison Break come into my mind. And, having a Damien Chazelle who has done these really large scale movies like La La Land and First Man. And again, Whiplash isn't large scale, but I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing that I don't know. And maybe you could substitute the word out for prison drama to prison musical. I don't know if I've ever seen one of those. That could be a good time. But yeah, just prison drama. That gives me a little bit of pause, But again, I'm excited because there's this development, and I'd heard about him doing a prison film, and it says this right here actually, which was at Paramount in April 2024, described as a mid-budget drama with action elements. But then it was scrapped. So this has been circulating for a while. So I'm glad that, one of the greatest working directors today, or I guess not necessarily working, but greatest directors today. I'm glad that he's coming out with another movie, and he's got another one, in the pipeline. He's got a phenomenal, one of the best composers working, on it. He's got two of the best actors, and you got, again, one of the best directors. Like, I'm really excited for that. I think it'll be good. But again, I am a little skeptical of prison drama, and what that means. So anyway, are you guys excited for this film? Are you excited that he's doing a prison drama? And do you think that it's a good idea that he's doing a prison drama? Let me know your thoughts, and we're going to move on to our next topic. About 10-ish years ago, a little show called Stranger Things released on Netflix. And it took me a while to watch Stranger Things because I was like, I don't know, this kind of just feels strange, but kept getting great reviews, and a lot of people, like a lot of friends of mine, were telling me to watch it. So about 6 months later, after it came out, I watched it. Not only did I watch it, I binged that son of a gun. I mean, I don't know if I think it took me 2 days to get through the first season of Stranger Things. But season 4 came out 3 years ago, and I thought it was the best season that they had done. It absolutely blew my mind. Thought it was amazing. Season 5, we, have been waiting years for, I think, so let's see, season 4 was 3.5 years ago is when season 4 came out. And then we had the writer's strike and what was the actor's strike. So then this gets put on pause. And so we've just been patiently waiting for season 5. Well, it's coming out at the end of this year. It has reportedly costed over $400 million to make. And let me get the article pulled up here. So this comes to us from SFF Gazette. And here's what the article says. Apparently, the show's send-off cost more than $400 million to produce, making it one of the most expensive TV shows of all time. Hollywood insider Kim Masters explains that the Duffer Brothers spent between $50 million and $60 million per episode. That's just insane. Suggesting the budget could have gone as high as $480 million when all was said and done. Stranger Things remains a major draw for streamers, though, and it's likely to pay off for Netflix in the long term. So that's really interesting and kind of crazy that they're spending that much. But this article also goes on to say that back to the run times of each episode, it said that we can expect them to each run between 90 minutes and 2 hours long. This essentially means Stranger Things' final season will consist of 8 movies, giving fans and Netflix plenty of bang for their buck. So you hear $50 to $60 million per episode, and you're like, well, how is that possible? But then you hear that they're basically making 8 movies, and each one of these episodes is an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Like, yeah, that's going to be $50 to $60 million. Like, Marvel spends like over $200 million on their movies, and Stranger Things, has plenty of action and effects. And it's like high budget film. Like it's not just like a cheap TV show. Like it's high quality. But this is just crazy. It begs a question as to whether, Netflix, like whether this is a good decision for Netflix, whether Netflix can, whether they make their money back on this. Now, the thing about Stranger Things is they make a lot of money from, ancillary revenue streams. So like, shirts and toys, it's just a big IP. And so they're able to license that out, to these businesses to sell products. So they make a lot of money from that, but they're essentially risking that, or making the bet that doing this, and this isn't even marketing, this is just production. I mean, they're probably like movies. Whenever they do it, they'll spend bigger movies. They'll spend 50 to 100% of their budget in marketing alone. So I mean, if Stranger Things was going to do that, $480 million, they could be up in 700 million when it's all said and done. So I don't know. I question. I mean, Netflix, they've had some good shows that they've made and developed, but not a ton. The Stranger Things really is their biggest one. It's their biggest IP, and so it makes sense that in a respect, it makes sense that they're trying to finish this with a bang, because their bet is that it's going to bring in more customers long term, enough to cover this price tag that it's going to bring in. So that, I guess they would have to be playing the long game with that. They would have to expect that for years to come, people are going to want to watch Stranger Things, and therefore they are going to get a membership to Netflix to be able to watch Stranger Things. And Stranger Things is really popular still, but it's not as popular as it was. But also there could be a resurgence. Like, it could come back, whether that's with this season or 5 seasons from now. There could be a resurgence, and then that gets a bunch of people back on board, and then maybe it does make Netflix, long-term money. But it's just interesting because that's so much money. The only other or TV show that has made, or that cost anywhere close to this was Rings of Power from Amazon. I think that cost around 700 million, but I think 250 of that was to get the rights to make it. So 250 million to get the rights to make it, and then I think it was around like the same price tag ish for the actual production cost. So that's just crazy. They do give a synopsis, and I don't know where they got this from, but of what season 5 is going to be. It says, the fall of 1987, Hawkins is scarred by the opening of the rifts, and our heroes are united by a single goal: find and kill Vecna. But he has vanished, and his whereabouts and plans are unknown. Complicating their mission, the government has placed their town under military quarantine and intensified its hunt for Eleven, forcing her back into hiding. As the anniversary of Will's disappearance approaches, so does a heavy, familiar dread. The final battle is looming, and with it, darkness more powerful and more deadly than anything they've faced before. To end this nightmare, they'll need everyone, the full party, standing together one last time. I mean, that sounds great. Like, I'm in. I'm on board. Like, the whole Stranger Things, 80s Spielberg type vibe and 80s horror type vibe. Like, I love it, and just reading that gets me excited for it. I think it's gonna be really good. But anyway, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Are you excited that we're basically getting 8 movies? Do you see this as a W, as a win, or do we think that this is going to be really the creators and writers just reaching and stretching it out and doing storylines and side stories that aren't necessary just to be able to extend it? So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we're moving on to our next topic. All right. So one of the biggest stars that we've had in the last, 10, 15 years has been Dwayne Johnson. He's created a lot of, action movies. He's been in the Fast and Furious franchise. He's been in Moana. I don't know if you guys remember Game Plan back from, I don't even remember when it came out, like 2007 or something like that. That was a great movie. That one's slept on. He's been in Jumanji, Black Adam, which didn't really do good at the box office. But traditionally, his movies do really good. He's in like the action movies / the action type comedy movies. He's always been very dependable. Well, I don't know if that's changed or what, but he was just in the new movie, Benny Safdie's movie, which is Josh Safdie's brother. And the movie's called Smachine Machine. and it's not doing good at the box office right now. So far, Smashing Machine has only made $7.3 million worldwide. And again, it's not adjusted for like this week. So this is from the opening week. But it's only made $7.3 million against a $50 million budget. And that's not counting the marketing that they spent on it, which, we'll probably say would be minimum $25 million. It could be more than that. So they probably has spent, I don't know, 75-ish, $80 million, maybe more on this movie. And it's only at 7.3 million global right now. So, I mean, this is, I guess, considered a flop. It's the lowest of Dwayne's, all right, The Rock, or whatever people are calling. I don't know. People call him Dwayne Johnson now. He's an actor. They call him The Rock, or I guess Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That's just so long. But this is not looking good. Now, with all that being said, I like to be positive. I'm a positive guy. I didn't even want to really talk about this too much because it's not doing good. But I'm going to show the good news. There's been a lot of rumors or I guess speculation that the studio, which I can't remember which studio this is, but that they're going to be pushing it pretty aggressively during the award season. And so that's good because whenever these studios find a movie and they want to push it during award season, that gives it the option to, or I guess the extra ability to make more money. Because whenever they go into these award seasons, number one, if it wins the award, then it gives a lot more leverage when negotiating the streaming and licensing contracts after. So you can make a lot more money. If you win, also it gets more like re-releases. And then it'll expand more internationally as well, because if it wins, then more people want to see it. And then the international markets, are more willing to pick it up and put it in screens. So I think that there is, more money that can come from this. Sometimes they'll do re-releases even like before the Oscars, even if they haven't won. So there could be more money that is made from that. It performed really well at Venice Film Festival. I think it might have got like the movie of the festival, like the best picture there. And so I do think that the studio is probably going to push. I don't know if they're going to push best picture, but I think they'll probably push best director. They'll probably push Dwayne The Rock Johnson because this is a completely different role and people are saying he's crushed it. Again, I haven't seen it yet. I've been sick and just got back from honeymoon just like 2 weeks ago. So haven't been able to see it yet. But from what I understand, his performance is amazing in it. And so I think this could also be really good just for, not really good, not ideal for, Benny Safdie's career as a director or The Rock's, career as an actor. But I do think that good news is that he's shown that he has acting chops, because a lot of the reviews are saying that he did a really good job. So if he's wanting to expand past just being the action guy or the action comedy guy, I think that this is great. Though it didn't do good, though it didn't perform well, it can show other directors, studios that, hey, this man can act past just action. So if he's wanting to get into other stuff and other genres, this could be really good for him. And Benny Safdie, I've heard it's a very well-directed movie. And though it didn't do good, people tend to like it quite a bit. It has a 76% score, critical score on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, the B- cinema score, that's not that good, but overall people are saying that they really enjoyed it. And so anyway, I think that there could be some good that comes from this. So especially again, once we get into the ancillary revenue and expand it maybe into international markets, and maybe it wins an award or two. So it sucks to see a director make something original and, where he put his heart and soul into it, and then for it not to perform well. Like it's super unfortunate, because I love the root 'em up, shoot 'em up action movies just as much as the next guy. Like I love Doomsday, I love Star Wars, I love all the nerd crap. I love, The Rock's old movies, which were actiony. Fast and Furious, they get a little ridiculous, and I don't like them as much as, the earlier ones, but I love those movies. But I always love to see directors take swings on original content and make lower budget, mid budget movies, specifically about inspirational and true stories. And given that it's, only made $7.3 million, I mean, it usually, like from the opening week, a movie might do 2.5x to 3x that. So, I mean, I really don't see the best case, I think that this movie gets to 25 million, but I still don't think there's any way it does that, because I think it had like a B- cinema score, which cinema score is kind of like the one that shows the legs of a movie. It kind of shows so how that works is they have people go to the movie theaters and they physically have people fill out surveys after they've watched it. So it's not like critics, it's like what the audience thinks of it. And like B- isn't terrible by any means, but that's usually not enough for it to be the movie that people tell all their friends about. The one where it's like, oh, you have to watch this. Usually when you're like in the A and A plus range, then people, that's where it has better legs because the word of mouth is so strong. But given that this is a B-, it's probably not going to do that good. I mean, I could see it getting to, 12, 15 mil. That would be my guess. But it's super frustrating because you had Taylor Swift, who I think only announced her documentary. I don't even remember what it's called, that it was coming out 2 weeks before it actually released, and it made $33 million. And, obviously she's this brand in and of herself. She's her own IP. So like that makes sense. And it opened up against that. So like there is that, but like there wasn't really any large movies that opened up against it, like really big like that, like was like Marvel or Star Wars or anything. And I feel like this is kind of a different audience, like from Taylor Swift. So I don't really feel like the market, it would have taken too much. So I don't know. This is just kind of frustrating to see because, I like that The Rock is trying to do more dramatic roles and like expand outside action. And I like that they're doing these original movies, but then whenever these movies don't perform well, the studios don't want to, they don't want to fund it. Financiers don't want to fund it because it's not showing to make its money back. Anyway, that is it. That was our last topic. And so I think we got through that. I don't think there's anything else I want to say on this one. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. We're going to be, I'm doing this right now once a week ish because, I have to work as well. But the idea and the goal is to get this to multiple times a week. And then ideally eventually get this daily so that we can bring, the most pressing and interesting news every single day. So again, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.